Hello, Redlo women. Welcome back to the podcast. How are you today? I'm so grateful you're here. I'm your host, Terri Mullen, and I'm here to offer a little bit of inspiration in your day and to empower you and to help you reclaim your confidence, embrace your voice, define your path, lead with courage, and own who you are now in this season of life. So grab that warm cup of coffee and let's step forward together. Let's go. Has the thought, big mistake, ever run through your mind? Like the thought and that line in Pretty Woman? Yeah, that exact thought and that exact line. And think of that exact moment. Because I had my own big mistake moment recently in New York City, and it all started with a pair of shoes. So let's go back a bit. Picture this. I'm in New York City. I'm walking all around the city like we all do when we go to New York, right? I've actually walked 20,000 steps in one day. Yeah, we were counting them because we were walking a lot. And when I'm in the city, I love to walk. We, always love to take in all the sights and just walk up and down all the streets, see the buildings and the stores and, just experience it, right? I love walking up and down Fifth Avenue and Park Avenue, and we'd stopped along the way and had breakfast at a food truck because that's a whole experience too. And we just sat by this wonderful little water fountain. And we just pondered our thoughts. And we were there to be with our boys, and we were going to meet up with them later that day. But my left heel has been bothering me quite a bit, and my feet were just screaming. And my shoes that I were walking in, I thought were okay, but really not ideal. So our boys had told us about some new Nike shoes, and we were headed to the Nike store. And I entered, and there they were, displayed brightly on the wall, the Nike Vomero Plus shoes. Now, if you haven't seen them or tried them on, let me just tell you, the heavens opened up as far as comfort. They are amazing. For me, they were all the support I needed, the cushion and the comfort, exactly where I needed it, from my very tired feet, in my heels and the arches, and they're just amazing. So I've been wearing them every day since. So if you, walk a lot or exercise a lot or you have problems with your feet, I highly recommend them. They're really pretty incredible. Anyway, so that's just a big plug for those shoes. But later on, we wandered into the Four Seasons Hotel on 57th and Park. Now, this place holds some really special memories for me, for my husband, and our family. And so I was so excited to wander back in. I think it's been under renovation, so it was just wondered just to step back into it. It's a place I love, and I always know that they just provide amazing customer service. So I was really looking forward to just sitting down, kind of regrouping before we met up with our boys and having a glass of wine. But as we stepped inside, something hit me immediately. Like it was quiet, like abnormally and eerily quiet, like no one in the lobby, no one in the bar or the lounge, kind of quiet, and almost a little surreal. There was no chatter in the bar. There weren't any clinking of the glasses or the normal, rush of people that you might even see, or even busy lunch meetings or whatever on a busy Friday afternoon in New York. So it was odd. And I thought, wow, this is so weird. And I even said to my husband, wow, this is odd. This is weird for the Four Seasons, especially on a busy Friday afternoon. But we decided to find some cozy chairs kind of in the back. We'd heard a pianist. It was the only noise I heard. And so we wandered back. We sat down in some really comfy chairs, and I stretched out my feet. My legs were so tired. And I put my legs up on what looked like a stool, like a footstool. And I thought, wow, finally I can rest. And we sat there for a bit, and we were just about ready to order a drink when an attendant appeared kind of out behind a hidden door. And she wandered up to me and said, "Take your feet off the stool." And I thought, wait, what? Like, where did you come from? Am I on hidden camera? Is this a joke? But no, there was no please or could I please help you? There was no may I offer you a drink or welcome to the Four Seasons. None of that. It was just take your feet off the stool. And then she disappeared. And in that moment, I literally thought, wow, big mistake, big mistake. And then I thought, this is so weird for the Four Seasons, so off-brand, so not customer service, right? When we think about Four Seasons, what do you think of immediately? You think of customer service. It's one of the things that they provide in such an amazing way, right? And my younger self would have apologized immediately. I would have just overly apologized and said, I'm sorry. I would have hoped no one noticed, but there was no one in the hotel, so it didn't really matter. But this time I didn't do that. I didn't overly apologize. Actually didn't even say anything. I was kind of shocked, so it caught me off guard. But I realized in that moment that I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't being disrespectful. I literally just put my feet on what I thought was a stool. And when this woman walked up to me, she even said, she used the word stool herself. So I thought, okay, she thinks it's a stool too. She used that word. And then I thought, wow, she could have said this so differently to me. If that wasn't a stool, she could have used some grace. She could have used some kindness in her voice. She could have said, excuse me, or she could have smiled, or she could have offered some other customer service, like, may I offer you something to drink? But none of that. None of that. And that's what the Four Seasons is known for, right? That's why I wanted to go there. But then I thought, what are we going to do? We were going to sit and have a drink. And I said to my husband, I want to leave. That moment, that decision, my actions were my voice. I didn't want to sit in a place that I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel welcome. And I wanted to go somewhere that was friendlier. I thought to myself, maybe she's having a bad day. I mean, this just isn't Four Seasons, And then I thought, no, this isn't New York, because everywhere we've been, people have been so friendly. You hear all the time people in New York aren't friendly, but that's not ever been my experience. I found restaurants and places to always be very welcoming and friendly, except for the Four Seasons in that moment. And so we decided to leave. I just wanted to go somewhere else where I felt seen and heard and valued and appreciated and felt like I belonged. I didn't want to sit somewhere where someone was making me feel small or less than. And she did exactly that. And I thought to myself, like I mentioned, my younger self would have overly apologized. But now in midlife, sometimes the rules aren't about respect, they're about control. And I also realized that it's so important to honor ourselves, to honor our own values and staying true to who we are, not overly apologizing or being overly polite or overly accommodating when it's uncomfortable, right? I'm not going to apologize for something I didn't do wrong. And it's okay to speak with our actions, to use our voice with our actions. We have a right to spend our time and our money in places that make us feel welcome, not those places that make us feel small. So, long story short, we left, right? We were going to meet our boys in a little while. We just kind of wanted to sit and have a pause and take a beat and then go meet up with them and take it for what it is. It all just rubbed me the wrong way. I was tired. I'm getting a little sassy in my midlife. I don't really care what others think, and I'm not going to apologize when I wasn't in the wrong. And I've stayed at enough Four Seasons hotels in my life to know that this is not the normal protocol. And I just decided I didn't want to make an issue. I just wanted to go somewhere else. So that's what we did. And then I thought, is this where we are now? Is this where we are in our culture, in our world? Where even places that we know, like, and trust with legendary reputations of hospitality and impeccable customer service are losing sight of what matters most, that kindness, creating and honoring the human experience and customer service. I grew up in this. I grew up in, family restaurant business. I know what customer service is, and I was a hairstylist for a long time, so always providing that high level of service matters. And it matters even more today as we continue to roll out AI and where robots are taking over. The human experience is even more important. And then I had this weird thought that, I wonder if an AI robot would have been a little bit friendlier in that moment. I don't know, something to think about, something to ponder. But I want to just encourage all of you as you are stepping forward with your life. If you are a coach or you have a business, you have an online business, continue to show up and serve. Meet people where they are, pay attention, offer impeccable, incredible service, and go over and beyond what you would normally do to help someone. There's so many hurting people. People need that connection, and they need to feel seen and heard and valued and reminded they belong. And this is a good example of where that applies. So my takeaways: provide customer service, be kind, meet people where they are, provide that amazing, impeccable human experience and make people feel welcome. And then go buy yourself some bold, bright shoes and let your actions be your voice, and step forward, step into those bold, bright shoes and be that person. Step forward with confidence and tenacity, and don't be afraid to be who you are. Hold true to your own values, because midlife isn't a time to shrink. It's exactly what I said in the intro. It's a time to reclaim your confidence, to embrace your voice, to define your path, to lead with courage, even when it's uncomfortable, and to own your space and to own who you are now in this season of life. And sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, right? And it all starts with your feet, stepping forward, stepping into your shoes, with your courage, with your beliefs, with your tenacity, with your wisdom. Spend your time, your money, and your energy on people, places, and things that remind you who you are and help you feel seen and heard and loved and valued, and that you belong, like I just said. Keep stepping forward. I believe in you. And before we go, just something to ponder. If I were to ask you, how are you showing up? How are you showing up for yourself? How are you showing up for others? How are you showing up in your business? Are you providing that incredible customer service and meeting people where they are, or even going beyond it to make them feel seen and heard and loved and valued and reminded that they matter and that they belong? And how are you stepping forward with your life, with your business, with that goal and dream and idea? And how are you using your voice in your life today? Keep stepping forward until we meet again. God bless. And don't forget, the Redlo Women's Circle is launching in September. I'd love to have you be a part of it. It's going to be full of lots of education and information. There'll be guest speakers, and you'll have a wonderful opportunity to connect with other women and network with women that are in the same place. So let's keep stepping forward. I'll put the link here in the show notes. It is a paid community, but it's going to be worth it, and you'll be in as a founding member. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you have a few key takeaways that you can apply to your life. And if you don't mind, take a few moments and leave a review that lets other women know that we're here making a difference in your life and theirs as well. Until we meet again, God bless.